Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Please don't forget to share me out if you can. It's your girl, Shannon B for BrownGirlBella, back again to bring you lips, lashes, and luxury. Today, we have a very special boss, Bella babe, on the way. We're going to show her some love in just a few moments. Thank you, DOD. Yes, smash that like button and don't forget to share us out. Thank you so much. Angels Army, I see you in the house. Officially Coco. Of course, DOD. Yo, it's your boy Leo. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm going to share myself out as well. And then we will get started. All right. Thank you so much for waiting and holding for me while I send myself out, because you know we got to do that. I'm going to bring up my guest, but before I do, let me read to you her bio and a little bit of background about our guest. Miss Villanova is a seasoned criminal attorney, trial attorney with over 15 years of experience as a prosecutor. She served as senior assistant district attorney in the Homicide Bureau of the Kings County District Attorney's Office. Prior to that, she was prosecutor with the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. Hi, I see you there. As an expert in criminal law and trials, Ms. Villanova has frequently appeared on various media outlets, including Court TV and the Law and Crime Trial Network, providing legal commentary on cases from around the country. While at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, Ms. Villanova conducted hundreds of felony preliminary hearings and bench trials. Never a stranger to the courtroom, she once tried 17 felony jury trials in a single year. As a result of her tireless fight for justice, Ms. Villanova is a past recipient of the Pennsylvania Coalition of Victims Advocate Prosecutor of the Year Award. Whew. From September 2007 to September 2020, Ms. Villanova served at the Kings County District Attorney's Office. Within her first 3 years, she made an unprecedented jump to the Homicide Bureau, trying the most serious and complex cases in the office. In her time, Bernarda has tried over 40 violent felonies, primarily murder jury trials, and has served as the Deputy Bureau Chief of Trials in units spanning Brooklyn's most challenging precincts. In 2011, Ms. Villanova taught in Panama with her American Bar Association's Rule of Initiative, spearheading the country's transition from a partially inquisitorial to an accusatorial criminal justice system. She was directly involved with police training officers and attorneys on the accusatorial criminal justice system. Through her efforts, she was able to support this transition and ensure that internationally, people everywhere had access to fair and equal justice. Welcome now my sorority sister, Miss Bernarda Villalona. Villalona.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to
Hello!
be on your show, Shannon. How are you?
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited.
I'm excited
Yes,
to
she is
be with
definitely a boss
you.
babe, positive pusher. She is definitely a boss babe. Absolutely. So, I mean, really. I'm reading this thing and I'm like, what? So tell me from your perspective, how did you get here? What was it like for you being a young girl? Were you always interested in law? How did you come about to be a powerful boss babe?
So, Shannon, my story is, I guess many would say, similar to others, except I had a different path. I will say that I am a product of my neighborhood, of my upbringing. I
Mhm.
was raised in East Flatbush, Brooklyn, the Caribbean side,
Yeah.
and my family immigrated here from the Dominican Republic. So we're the first generation born in the US, learning English by watching TV.
Mhm.
And growing up in East Flatbush, which back in the 90s was one of the most violent, unfortunately, neighborhoods back in the 90s. It's still one of the most violent neighborhoods in Brooklyn, but not as bad as it used to be in the 90s. But just seeing what I used to see on a day-to-day basis, all the crime that would take place, how we were prisoners in our own home, I knew that I wanted something better for my community. And I also knew that I wanted to hold accountable any injustices that I would see. For example, with like police officers. I remember in high school, there was a police officer that killed one of the guys on the block just on the corner of where I lived. So from then on, and then flashback going straight when we're talking about Abner Louima, when we're talking about Abner Diallo, and we're talking about Patrick Dorisman. So all these individuals who have died at the hands of police officers, I just
Mhm.
knew that I wanted to be a change agent within the criminal justice system to make sure that the streets are safe, but at the same time that fundamental fairness is taking place when we're talking about the criminal justice system.
Absolutely. So I already see people asking in the comment section. Yes, she was saying Flatbush. Not Flatbush. She was saying oh my gosh, she's from Brooklyn. She's a Brooklyn girl.
Yes, I am
So,
a down
yeah,
hard Brooklyn girl. I represent it no matter where I'm at. And let me tell you, because
absolutely,
I went to
absolutely.
Albany, upstate for college, and then I moved to Boston to attend Boston College Law School. And then after that, I went to
Mhm.
Philly, lived there for 3 years, and I just knew that I was going to come back to my borough, Brooklyn, New York. And I represent it every
Absolutely.
day.
There you go. There you go. Brooklyn girls, we always stick together. Yes. Paul Lindo said he has been to Flatbush, Brooklyn, but he's Italian.
Oh, but there's a
So yeah.
difference. Let me distinguish between East Flatbush and
Yes.
Flatbush, which are two
Two different.
different, completely areas. It's almost like two different countries. So East
Mhm.
Flatbush, for a while I was like Jamaican and Trinidadian, used to
Yes.
do run around doing juve, used to be on the trucks on Labor Day. I mean,
Yes.
I love the culture. I love growing up in East Flatbush, just have been able to
Mhm.
experience all of that and didn't realize actually how valuable that was until I went to college. I went to law school and I was like, wait, hold up. The rest of Brooklyn and New York is not like that. Because
No.
remember back then, Shannon, look, when we were asked for someone's phone number, we wouldn't have been like, oh, what's your area code? No, because all we had was
Exactly.
house
You
phones.
already know.
Exactly. Exactly. What's your area code? And we thought that was big. What area code? There's only what was it like
Exactly.
3-718-212. Pretty much were the
Mhm.
only area codes that existed. So completely
Absolutely.
different. But it's all love.
Completely different now. Yes, B. Brooklyn is definitely in the house. She knows I always talk about Brooklyn, and my dog is named Brooklyn, of course, as well. So I want to talk about, take us back because, we've had this year has been just incredible, but I feel like a change is coming. And I would be remiss if I didn't say, as a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha myself, we did an ear splitting ski wee when our sorority sister became Vice President elect
Yes.
Kamala Harris. Now,
Yes.
as a former prosecutor yourself, I'm sure you're thrilled and above the moon about
I
it. So
am.
tell me some of the things you were experiencing.
So I am, Shannon, for several reasons that different from from other people, their rationale. Like, yes, I am happy that she broke that glass ceiling, that she is the first female to become vice president elect. I am very happy about that,
Mhm.
especially not just the first female, but the first African American female, the first Caribbean female to become vice president, which pretty much is the highest office in this country. So I'm
Yes.
very happy about that because now you are going to get this Black girl magic every day. But
Every day.
aside from that, I'm happy because when I see Kamala Harris, I see so many of us. She
Mhm.
is a child of immigrants. She came to this, well, she was in this country raised from immigrant parents. She came
Mhm.
from humble beginnings. She also was, so she became an attorney. She went to an HBCU. After becoming an attorney, she went into prosecution. And prosecution is huge. And the reason why is because we know that our community, we know that a lot of us do not go into prosecution because of all the negative feelings that people have towards prosecuting the criminal justice system.
Right.
So I was happy when Kamala Harris won because she is a former prosecutor. And not
Mhm.
just a former prosecutor, she was former prosecutor in California, but also former and first African American female attorney general in California. And to be a prosecutor, a line prosecutor, takes a lot because what people don't realize that the criminal justice system is made up of so many different parties, and it takes us being in all parts of those roles in order for there to be equal justice. And the
Mhm.
prosecutor is the most powerful person in the criminal justice system. And the reason why more powerful even than the judge is because the prosecutor decides what charges someone should face. And depending on those charges, it determines what sentence, if any sentence, a person should face. And
Mhm.
also from there, you have to take into account the safety of the community, but also take into account that the rights of those that are accused are actually being upheld. And the struggles that you go through as a prosecutor on a day to day basis, I mean, pretty much as a prosecutor for 16 years, it was almost like every time I was in court, you're usually the most hated person. You know, you're always getting it from all different sides, except
Yeah.
if you have, for example, for the last 10 years, I was prosecuting simply just homicide cases. So at least the family members and friends of those that were killed were happy and grateful for you. But what people
Mhm.
need to understand, you know, and this is why I love that Kamala Harris is now vice president elect, is because you're going to know about her background. You're going to see her on a day-to-day basis. You're going
Mhm.
to learn what's a first for the first time. People are talking about what's a prosecutor? What do prosecutors do? And I'm
Right.
hoping with that we get more people from our community, from our neighborhoods that actually go into prosecution and be the change that this system actually needs. Like, look, I loved it when I was a prosecutor because I
Mhm.
was from East Flatbush. I know what it is to be a victim of crime. I know what it is to have family members that are accused of crime. I know the struggles that people face. And I take that with me every day that I was in that office and in making determinations of what should happen with a person's life. And that's something that is unique to us being in those positions.
Right. And I didn't even know, I wasn't made aware that you actually talk about what charges should be brought against this person
Absolutely.
on the crime that they chose. I mean, that
Mhm.
they did or accused of doing, I should
Well,
say.
Shannon, look at this. Like all the marches and the protests that took place,
Mhm.
we got in Breonna Taylor. What's the
Right.
main reason after that? Because the prosecutor, and at the time now it's Attorney General Daniel Cameron, he
Mhm.
did not present the homicide charges for a grand jury to determine whether there was enough sufficient evidence for those officers to be held accountable or actually to go to trial, be held for trial on those homicide charges. And so what
Mhm.
happened, Shannon? So we know that because that prosecutor didn't charge those officers, that's
Right.
why there are no homicide charges. It starts and ends with the prosecution. So again,
Wow.
like I said, the prosecutor is just The strongest person in the criminal justice system, the most powerful person.
So what do you think in that case? Because I was going to get to that later, but I'm so glad you brought it up now. What do you think was missing? Was it purely on the prosecution to do this, or do you think something else was at hand?
So Shannon, what I think and what I know based on 16 years of being a prosecutor and working in two different prosecutors' offices and having been a prosecutor in homicide for the last 10 years, what was missing was a fair prosecutor. What was missing was an ethical prosecutor. What was missing was someone who gave trust to the community, a transparent prosecutor. Because Shannon, the goal of a prosecutor is supposed to be to seek justice and not conviction. So Daniel Cameron went wrong on so many levels. And that first level was not presenting the charges of homicide to the grand jury as to those officers. Not to say that they would have gotten an indictment on those charges. But the thing is that you took away that ability from the fact finder, which is a grand jury, not you. It's the grand jury who was supposed to decide. I think that the people of Kentucky, or a lot of people around the country, would have been able to accept if a grand jury did not indict, if it was presented to the grand jury in a fair manner, meaning you presented all the charges, not just what you wanted to present, not just the facts that you wanted to present and tailor it in your way. Because for any trust to exist in the criminal justice system, there has to be transparency. And Daniel Cameron was not transparent, and it didn't help that when he gave that press conference and blatantly said that the grand jury agreed that no homicide charges should be in existence, you lied. You lied. And that's why in the history, I can tell you this, I think, actually, I know, in 16 years, I have never heard of a grand juror wanting to go to a courthouse to be like, you know what, I want you to take that cloak of anonymity from me, and I want to speak because the Attorney General lied. He did not present those charges to us. And that happened. We had 3 grand jurors in Kentucky who came out against Daniel Cameron saying you lied. So now imagine, imagine Shannon, you living in that community. It's like, do I trust you to prosecute anyone in my community? Are you doing right by them? Or are you prosecuting them for some kind of political motive? You can't trust a prosecutor now in Kentucky. At least I wouldn't trust them if I lived in that county. That wouldn't happen.
Absolutely. I want to say hello to everyone who just joined. Buddha, hello, welcome. Nurse Gigi, welcome in. Sugar, welcome in. Don't forget, we have with us a boss babe, a boss babe. So feel free to ask her any questions if she can answer it, because I know there are certain things legally she cannot answer, but if she can, she will talk about it and she will answer it. All right, so describe a typical day in the prosecutor's office, and then how has that changed now that you're out of that realm and now into a private practice where you're doing your own thing? How is that different?
So Shannon, in order for the criminal justice to work, we all have parts to play. So you have the judge, you have the prosecutor, you have the defense attorney, you have the police officers and investigators and civilians and witnesses. So everyone has a part and a role to play. So as a prosecutor, when I was a prosecutor in the Homicide Bureau in Brooklyn, day to day, it would depend. Did a homicide just take place? Because I'm sure you know that this year, the homicide rate has, I believe, almost doubled. But either way, it is much higher than it was at this point last year. So homicides plus violent crimes are on the high. So on a day-to-day basis, it depends. did a homicide take place? Because if a homicide take place, it's a fresh homicide and there's investigation that needs to be done, then you're working that homicide. You go into the precinct, you're talking to witnesses, you're dealing with what physical evidence they have, you're looking into the physical evidence. Is there DNA? Are there video cameras? Are there phone records? So all that background in terms of investigation. But if you're not doing that, if I have to go to court to just stand up on a case, whether it's just a conference with the defense attorney and the person that's in custody, or whether it's a hearing to determine whether what the officers did in their recovery of any physical evidence or the identification or the taking of a statement was actually legal, because you can't just take a statement. You have to give a person that is accused their Miranda rights. So doing that, or, you know, meeting with witnesses in the office, talking about the case, talking about what happened. Because what you want to do, especially as a prosecutor, is that you want to make sure that the person that you have in custody is the person that committed the crime. That's one thing. And then second is that you're trying to see what is the best outcome for this case. So if you're dealing with a homicide, it's like, what should the resolution be to this case? Is it murder in the second degree where you serve 15 years to life, or anywhere between 15 to 25 to life? Should it be a manslaughter, anywhere between 5 and 25, a flat sentence? So all those determinations, because like I told you, the prosecutor is the most important and powerful person, is that they determine what sentence you can face. Because if you don't, if you only have the top charge of murder in the second degree, by law, a judge can only sentence you 15 years to life, maximum 25 years to life. A judge can't go under that because he has to follow the law. But the prosecutor can get rid of that charge, can withdraw that charge, and make the higher charge one that's much lower and not requiring that type of sentence. But now, Shannon, life is different. Life is different. Since I started this, I always pride myself is that it's a journey to justice, it's a pursuit to justice. I want to make sure that anything I do within and I love the criminal justice system, working within the criminal justice system, because you're making a difference. And you're making a difference because money can't buy freedom. You know, money can't, you can always get money back with a civil case, right? But that's not the same with a criminal case, because with a criminal case, one day spent for one person in jail can change their life. You know, one person that is killed by someone, it changes the life, not just of those family members, but also of the neighborhood and those that are close. So now I've taken my qualities, taken my trade, and now I am a defense attorney. I defend those that are accused of federal crimes or state crimes. I also deal with administrative hearings. Now I work as the senior trial counsel for Joey Jackson Law. And Joey Jackson Law has the contract for the New York City correction officers. So we represent 8,600 correctional officers in their administrative hearings and their criminal cases. So dealing with that, and then from time to time, either I'm on Court TV or on the Law and Crime Network, or speaking on panels, or speaking to students, try to educate the community about the criminal justice system, because I think the most important thing is for people to be knowledgeable about who is who and what they do, because that way you can partake in the system. And also when it comes time to election, you need to know who you're voting for, because prosecutors, they're elected. So if they're not doing right by you, vote them out.
Vote them out.
Vote them out.
Absolutely. So in this climate that we're in right now, I feel like everything is at a standstill. Is that true for the criminal justice system now? Like, because of, you know, what's going on, are you now prosecuting crimes differently? Is it now remote?
So Shannon, so, you know, since I'm a defense attorney, I don't prosecute cases anymore. So I defend those that are accused of a crime. So it is definitely different. Things have not been the same since March. It is definitely a slowdown, and it's a slowdown with actual arrests taking place, actual investigations taking place, and actual prosecutions taking place. So who has the priority right now is that if you have a person that is in custody, your case is a priority. The problem that's taking place now is that, one, pretty much everyone is still at a semi-shutdown, especially at the district attorney's office. It's not like the prosecutors are coming in Monday through Friday, every day, every week. That's not happening.
Mhm.
I believe it's only like maybe a quarter of the office or less that is showing up to the office. But some people, supposedly they're working remote. But you can only do but so much working remotely. You
Right.
need that in person. So
Mhm.
also with courts, and you got to think that if a person wants a trial or a hearing, they are entitled to their trial and to their hearing. They are also entitled to be present in court. So if a
Mhm.
person that is in custody and says, no, I'm not willing to be on video, I want to be in person. If that is not happening right now, it's like people have to wait until it's happening. So just last week, even though grand juries resumed for a little bit and it resumed in August, it got shut down again last week. So what does that mean? So since grand juries are shut down, meaning they have to finish out the presentation of evidence for the grand jury that's there right now, and then once their term ends, you can't bring in a new grand jury. So what happens? In New York, that if you are arrested and you are in custody, the prosecution, the government has 180 hours, pretty much 6 days from the time of arrest to have you indicted. If you are not indicted, you can be released from jail with no bail or anything. And it doesn't matter what the charges are, as long as you're not
Oh my
you're not
goodness.
in on other charges. So that's why it's always been a rush that when someone's in custody that you have to indict them. So now you have that problem. Now they're going to have to switch out to going back to preliminary hearings where a prosecutor and the defense is present, is presenting
Mhm.
facts to a judge. But you got to think, even though they're presenting to a judge in New York, you're entitled to a grand jury and an indictment
Right.
by a grand jury. So it has to be done again for whenever grand juries resume. But there are no trials taking place. Actually, it's already been announced that no trials will be taking place for the rest of the year.
Oh
So
wow.
where are we? It is such a huge backlog. It's a
Mhm.
backlog. The system, it's to the detriment of those that are in custody and
Right.
those that are, they're entitled to their speedy right to trial, and it's not happening because of COVID and precautions. You're dealing with unions, you're dealing with correction officers, you're dealing with judges, you're dealing
Mhm.
with you can't have many people inside of the courthouse. So even when it's open, the elevator, the courthouse has 25 floors. The last time I was at the courthouse, only 3 people could be in the elevator at one single time.
Oh my
But
goodness.
we're exactly, exactly. So it's
Wow.
like it's so different. It's so different. There's going to be a huge, huge backlog, which is a shame because people want to move on from their lives. Like I have clients that have been accused of committing a crime, and it's like they want to get this over with, but how when nothing's going on? You can't
Right.
get a grand jury indictment. You can't get a hearing. You can't get a trial. So we're at a standstill.
Mhm.
So,
Oh my goodness. Wow. So if someone has a trial, let's say that, they were accused of a crime and now they're sitting in jail, what happens if they have not gotten that, um, if they haven't been accused, if they haven't gone to that 180-day period yet? Do they then just get released no matter what the charge is?
so what they started doing, because this is all new, Shannon. This
Mhm.
is new. It never happened before. Like, yes, we had
Right,
the Spanish flu back in 1914, but times were different then.
right, right.
So it's like every day we're learning as we go. That's pretty much what's happening. So
Okay.
at one point in August, like I said, the governor issued where you can do preliminary hearings, meaning you present the
Mhm.
case to a judge, right? So that was supposed to replace grand jury presentations. So that
Right.
way, if you have at least a preliminary hearing and you're held over for court on a preliminary hearing, then you have some more time. I'm not sure if it's 30 or 60 days that you have to indict that person by. However, there's going to be some leeway now because if because of the public health, you're not bringing in grand jurors, then you can't have that same standard, that same rule at this time.
Mm.
So
Oh,
again, it's a learning process. We're
wow.
all learning.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything is closed down. I will say that one thing that has changed is that a lot of appearances now are being conducted virtually. So people aren't going to the houses, the courthouses. It's being
Mm-hmm.
done virtually. Like I've had many conferences that, do it virtually. That's it. Had to get good Wi-Fi, had to get an iPad, had to get a ring
Yes.
light, earpiece, all type of stuff. Learning as we go,
Mm-hmm.
but virtual may just be the new way in life in general, not just in the criminal justice system, but just
All over.
life in general, just life in general. Like
Absolutely.
they've been other states around the country that have been experimenting, talking about, oh, let's do a jury trial and we'll put everyone that will appear by Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you take an oath to be a juror. It's like you're not supposed to be discussing the case. There shouldn't be other people present. How do you deliberate? It's just so much to deal with. So much to deal with that it's all going to be fought in the courts anyway.
Mm-hmm. Not sure if this is your area of expertise, but since I have you on here, I wanted to ask. The current person who occupies the White
Oh,
House
Jesus.
is
Mm-hmm.
holding up the transition for the Biden team to go in and do what they need to do to prepare our country for his oath of office in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Legally, what can be done, if you know?
So, so tech, so technically, Shannon, I guess the legal way, there's a lot of things you can do illegally, but the legal way is that
Mhm.
technically he doesn't have to leave the White House until January 20th of 2021. So it's not
Mhm.
mandated by law that there is some kind of smooth transition. That's not in the law books. Sure, that would be the nice thing to do because for the best of the country. But obviously, we've seen from these 4 years is that the man doesn't think about what's best for the country. you
Right.
know. So technically, what's going to happen is that the Biden campaign is going to end. He's already started with hiring his transition team and putting people in place to
Mhm.
be a part of his cabinet. But it's not until January 20th, which by law, Trump is going to have to leave whether he wants to or not. He is out. And that's because of the law.
Okay. Perfect. So whether he wants to or not, on the
You
20th,
out.
he's got to go.
Exactly. You got to go.
You got to go. Excellent. I love that. For my future baby Bellas who may want to venture into the law, what sort of things should they be preparing themselves for?
So the first thing I'll ask is that if you are interested or thinking about the law, just make sure you have to ask yourself why. What is your why? Why do you want to be an attorney? Do you want to be an attorney because it's nice? Do you want to be an attorney because you heard they make money? By the way, working for the government, you don't. 16 years of experience with that. But you have to understand and know what your why is because
Right.
aside from the experiences that you'll be going through, you also are going to be paying for law school because it doesn't matter how much of a scholarship you get, you're still going to have some kind of debt. So, what I will ask is for anyone, if you are interested in becoming an attorney, is ask yourself why. You don't have to know what type of law you want to practice. I'm just blessed
Mhm.
that I knew from a young age that I was going to do criminal law. And technically,
Mhm.
all I wanted to do is be a defense attorney. But it wasn't until I took a class on prosecutorial ethics and I met Johnny Cochran, who started out as a prosecutor before he
Yeah.
became a defense attorney. I didn't
Mhm.
realize the power of a prosecutor. And when I took that class and I spoke to Mr. Cochran, I was like, okay, so I need to go into prosecution because I need to learn the system. And that
Mhm.
is where I can effectuate change is being within the system. And then once I leave, is educating people about the system and being a
Right.
strong advocate of it. But I want everyone, if you are interested in becoming an attorney, it depends. Like, ask, do you want to do criminal law? Do you want to do civil law? Do you want to do
Mhm.
community service? Do you want to do non-for-profit? Do you want to work in education? There is a lawyer for literally everything that takes place in this country. Even
Yes.
the air you breathe, there is a lawyer for that. So you don't have to know exactly what you want to do, but you need to
Mhm.
know and have that why, because you need that drive, because you are going to be met with so many obstacles. You just don't know what can happen. Like I know, for example, when I was in high school, aside from going up in East Flatbush, I went to Sheepshead Bay High School. And my second year there, my father passed away. So with my father passing away, I'm 14 years old. I'm the oldest of five, and my mom is here. But it's
Yeah.
like, okay, where does my life go now? But
Mhm.
I still knew, oh, I wanted to become an attorney. So either way, ventured out. I was able to graduate from high school and I went to college. It was like, okay, now I got to make it to college. And making it through college, of course, you're going to be faced with so many obstacles, especially
Absolutely.
for me. I didn't have any money for school. I didn't have any money in general. So when I went to college, I got into college through the EOP program here in New York, that they have the Educational Opportunities Program that assists those that can't monetarily afford college and also
Mhm.
that needs help educationally to get into college and give them an opportunity. So I got in through that program and completed that program. But also when I was in college, unfortunately, my junior year, my youngest sister passed away at the age of 12 unexpectedly from asthma attack. So it's like, what do I do? Do you just give
Mhm.
up on life? What is it that you want? What do you need to keep on going? So again, thinking about your why. And then also when it comes to applying to law school, because applying to law school, it is so competitive. I know for Boston College, which back when I went to law school was, I think, number 21 or number 22 in the country out of 180 law schools. And for
Wow.
275 seats, they received over 8,000 applications. And that's how competitive it is to go into law school. So another thing is trying to get in. Sometimes you may not get in your first time around. Are you going to give up? Then once you get in, those long nights, and when you have people telling you that you shouldn't be an attorney or you shouldn't be here or you're not enough, you need
Mm.
to believe in yourself to know that, look, I am enough. I
Right.
can make it. This is my why, and I'm going to continue because this is my journey and I am going to complete my goal. So stay focused. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do what you
Mhm.
want to do, because if you are focused and you have that drive, you'll make it happen no matter what people say or try to do to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So know the why.
Know
Know
the
the why,
why.
baby
Know the
girl.
why. Also try internships, doing summer
Mhm.
internships at different law places, or when the courthouses open up again, go watch a trial. Courtrooms are
Right.
open to the public, so you can go any day, Monday to Friday, pre-COVID, and watch a trial that's going on. So you can see, is this something that I'm interested in? Or also what's different now is that the kids now have the opportunity with social media, with the internet, with Instagram, with YouTube, Facebook. You can
Mhm.
research and see all these videos and talk to all
Yes.
these people. When I
Mhm.
wanted to become an attorney, I didn't know one attorney. I didn't meet an attorney until college, when there was an attorney inside of the inside of the school for the students. Exactly.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. So, I didn't know any attorneys, which is different because people don't have to experience that in this day and age because of social media, because of the news, because of the different communities, because of our sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, putting out programs for the community.
Mhm.
So you have it better. You have it good.
Mhm. Right on cue. There goes my line sister. Hey. Hey, sweetie. Thank you for coming. Leon's Life. Hello. Welcome in. We are talking with Boss Babe Renata. And guys, don't feel shy. Come on with the questions. You can come type a question into the chat. If she can answer it, she most certainly will. But I want to talk girlies talk for a few minutes.
Okay.
So you run, you've run a marathon.
When I'm behaving myself.
Girl, how do you do it with your schedule and all you have? How did you manage to run the New York City Marathon? How did you
so
prepare for that?
so Shannon, with the marathon, of course, so I've done it 3 times now. I was supposed to run it this year, but it was canceled.
Right.
So with the marathon, I will tell you this is that a lot of people, only 1% of the population has run a marathon in this country. So I always want to be different because people can't complete it. So it's like
Yeah.
you can't tell me what I can't do. I can do anything that I put my mind to. So
Yes.
especially for me, because I don't like running. And since I'm an asthmatic, or at least back when I was running like crazy, I couldn't run for more than a minute. Like I will always stop. So it was like a building process. So for the
Mhm.
marathon, it's like you train for 18 weeks where you're running 4 times a week. You start with a base where you have to be able to run at least 6 miles or 3 to 6 miles from there. And then every week you're running. You're running during the week 3 times, and then during the weekend, you're running double digits. So it's
Wow.
really in the planning. That's what helps. Sometimes you don't want to run, but you know that if you don't get or complete the program, is that you're not going to get to the finish line. And I was like, I cannot fail. But also, what amazed me from running the marathon and training for the marathon is what your body can accomplish. I think about it, I'm like, oh, in the first week of training, I couldn't run 3 miles. And by the last week of training, you're like, oh, I just knocked out 20 miles. It's just amazing with the
Wow.
weekly progression of what your body can do. So
Hmm.
that was also motivating. And as well as with running, it's like I got to know neighborhoods that I probably never would have been in, just running around the FDR Drive, the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, Prospect Park, running down East Side highways, like running all these different areas in New York that when you're driving, you're not paying attention. But when you're running, because you're always observing, it's like, oh, wow, you know? But it's
Hmm.
nice. I loved it. I loved it because with seeing so much negativity on a daily basis, I will
Yes.
tell you that running the marathon, the New York City Marathon, is literally when you see the best of New Yorkers because you have millions of people that do not know you, that are cheering you on, that have signs and a lot of funny signs, that are
Mhm.
giving you tissue, giving you fruit, giving you sticks of Vaseline, just random people just giving you things in the street. And the kids, of course, all the kids want to high five and it makes their day. Like
Mhm.
that is very inspiring to see the best of New York on that, and especially running
Absolutely.
Brooklyn. Brooklyn is the best part with all the
Okay.
bands, the music. It's
Yes.
amazing. It's
You
amazing.
know, Brooklyn does it better.
Yeah. But I
Brooklyn
will
does
tell
it
you
better.
this, Shannon, since we're talking about, fashion and stuff like that.
Yes.
The one thing we have to balance that guys don't have to worry about, oh my God, it's my hair. So I know, for example, I have to plan my hair with my workouts. So if I know I want to wear my hair straight for that day, guess what? I'm not working out in the morning. Or if I am working out, I'm probably going to work out 3 hours earlier than
Mhm.
when I have to leave the house because then I'm going to have to wash it. I'm going to have to
Mhm.
straighten it. And that right there is a lot of work. So
Yes.
that's one issue with working out is
Oh,
the hair portion of it.
and then also finding the time. I mean, even though we are indoors most of the time, I
Hmm.
still find that I have to get out. Like I'm so focused on doing what I need to do. So I'm on the computer, I'm
Hmm.
writing, I'm doing other things. So the next time I look up, it's dark outside and the whole day is gone. So how do you unplug, deprogram yourself from everything that you have to do because your life is much, much bigger, busier than mine? How do you manage to unplug to get that workout going?
So Shannon, I have to say the thing is I don't ever unplug or deplug because it's literally like my work life is my life, because
Mhm.
crime, criminal justice system, and advocating for the system is my passion and what I love doing. So everything
Mhm.
I do is centered around it. So literally up to the point where people are like, why do you watch all these law shows, FBI, law and crime? Why do you watch SVU? Why do you watch How to Get Away with Murder? Like I still, even though I do crime during the day, legal
Mhm.
work, it's like I'm still watching these shows at night when I got the chance. But now I'm actually busier than I was when I was a prosecutor working on the defense side because it's so much to do, so much to learn. You have so many clients that
Mm-hmm.
are relying on you, and it's a lot more. I was in a routine when I was a prosecutor because I already knew everything I was doing. I know how to try a case. I know what I need to do. But one
Mm-hmm.
thing I always keep in mind is that I remember a professor in law school who told me, it was like, Bernarda, you don't go to sleep, you fall asleep. So if you're going to
Ah,
sleep, that means you have some more energy to do stuff. But if you fall asleep, it's like you've given it your all, so you are done. But
mm-hmm.
it's really just finding ways, because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I just want to lay down, stuff my face, and watch TV. But I got myself a Peloton. I have a treadmill. But what I love to do is I love to kickbox. So that's difficult. Like I got up this morning to go kickbox, and I'm like, do I want to go out, put on a coat, drive to the kickboxing gym, then drive back and try to find parking, then come back inside and take a shower? And I was like, I lost 15 minutes. I said, okay, I guess I'm not doing it. The Peloton it is.
Mm-hmm. How do you like the Peloton? Do you like it?
So I like
Are you
it.
doing
I
the
mean,
bike or the treadmill?
I have a treadmill, but the bike, so I like it. My number one problem, of course, is that it's not made for my behind. It's just not made for
That
this
part.
hourglass body. Yes.
Ex-
So even with a cushion, it's like when the instructors are like, okay, stand up. I'm like, yeah, I'd rather work out standing up the entire time than sitting on that chair, because the seat is very
Yeah.
uncomfortable. It's
Mhm.
uncomfortable.
Yes. All right. Let me say hello to the people in the chat who just joined us. Black Brand Friday. Hello. Inset Man 78. Hello. Welcome in. Um, Angel, you want to type it in the chat or do you want to come up? Proud mixed child. Hello. He's from Puerto Rico. He was in Puerto Rico now, but
Nice.
he used to be here in New York. Yes. All right. So how long do you work out for when you do work out?
Not longer than an hour.
Okay.
Not longer than an hour. My body doesn't move like it used to. It just doesn't.
Girl, wait till you get on my side of things. It's gonna really hit you. It's like every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, what hurts today? Nothing hurts? All right, good day. The real lady Tanya, Pink Motivation. Hello, hello. Okay, Angel, no problem. I'll let you come up in a moment. Um, so what's in your makeup bag, Aurora? What do you have in your makeup bag?
All right.
What's
So
your favorite?
I have to be honest. I did not start wearing makeup until uh in my 30s or late 30s. So in high school, I did not wear makeup. In college, I never wore makeup. In law school, I didn't wear makeup at all. I didn't even own makeup. So from time to time, if I were going to go somewhere, maybe once in a blue, it would have to be like a black tie gala. But
Mhm.
in high school, college, law school, no makeup. When I was a prosecutor in Philadelphia, no makeup at all. So when I came to Brooklyn, I think I just started wearing makeup maybe 5 years ago, if that.
Really?
Yeah, if that. Yeah, because I was never into makeup. I was never even into nail polish. Like my nail polish will always be clear. I wasn't into the colors or anything. But I started getting into makeup just because, when you work long hours, these eyes just don't want to stay the same.
Exactly.
And, yeah, and one complaint I have about being light skinned is that you can definitely see the dark circles. So my
Yeah.
thing always was is that I love getting tans in the Caribbean, so I will always
Mhm.
travel and get a dark tan and be good to go. That is my makeup. But just recently, I started wearing makeup, and what I do it is that I'll do it for special occasions, or if I'm going to court or making a presentation, or I'm going out, or now anytime that I'm on a show, whether it's court TV or any other show, because of the lights and you can see all your impurities, I definitely wear makeup. But for me, mostly what I do, so I'm looking at my bag now, which I don't have. This is literally all the makeup I possess. Look, it's in one bag. All the makeup I possess is in one bag. And for me, what I do, I always carry my blotter paper because I
Mhm.
do sweat a lot, and especially with the lights, they do make you
Yeah.
sweat. But for
Mhm.
me, what I like is I always like to do my eyebrows. So I do that with just fill it in with a pencil.
Mhm.
I
You have
always
gorgeous
love,
brows.
thank you.
I'm looking at
So
your breasts. I'm like, oh, envy, envy.
let me tell you, Shannon, that during COVID, I was going through withdrawal of how much I wanted to get my eyebrows done. And the woman who does my eyebrows, I called her at home and I was like, I will pay you anything that you want. Just please do my eyebrows. And she said, no, I have a daughter. I'm like, well, here we go. I'm not going to do my eyebrows. So I was willing to drive. I would go to another state to do my eyebrows because I was like, that's the one thing at least is because I don't wear makeup much, is that I
Mhm.
need my eyebrows done. So I
Yes.
definitely fill in my eyebrows. For my eyes, I have a secret. I only like one eyeshadow, and that's by MAC. And the eyeshadow that I like is, what is this called now? This eyeshadow is called the Bling. Now, it's the
Oh.
pink. Problem is that MAC doesn't make it anymore. They stopped making it years ago. So
Oh,
let me tell you,
wow.
I have not found another color to replace it. So guess what? Every time, probably like once a week, I got an alert when eBay, somebody puts it up for sale on eBay because I am not ready to move on. I'm sticking
Mhm.
with the Bling. So that is my eyeshadow. Aside
Okay.
from that, I do like wearing mascara.
Mhm.
I don't like lashes. It's just for some reason I blink a lot. It doesn't matter what lashes you give me. It's like it just feels very awkward to me. And I haven't
Mhm.
been able to get used to it. So I'm like, just fill it up with some mascara. And now
What
I like,
mascara do you like?
you know what? I'm actually experimenting with different mascaras, but a trick that someone showed me, actually Angela Kelly, who's a makeup artist, she
Mhm.
said you can use two mascaras. You don't need one. And
Mhm.
that you should start from doing from the back first and then
Mhm.
the front in order to give it extra
Yeah.
bounce.
Mhm.
So with that, I use the mascara. I do a black line, and I just recently started doing this black line probably earlier this year. And that's
Okay.
a show that I was on was like, oh, let me put on makeup on you. Let me try something new. And they put the black line, and I love it because I see that the black line, I don't know what you call it, but it brings out the
The
lightness of
eyeliner.
my eye. So I love
Yes.
it.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much what I do on a regular basis if I want to wear makeup. From time to time, if I need foundation, depending on what's going on with my face, I'll put on
Mhm.
foundation and then put some powder over it and then some
Mhm.
blush, some pink blush for my cheeks. And I put on probably some lip gloss. That's it. Because I also don't like lipstick. So I like
Lipstick.
gloss. I'm all about the gloss and some chapstick.
There you
Listen.
go. There you go. Sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes that's
Mhm.
all you need. I'm glad she taught you that trick though about the mascara. I love doing that with my lashes. I have
Mhm.
started really just moving away from the strip lash because, I have every kind of strip lash there is. And I actually started off doing lashes individually and
Okay.
then stopped when I discovered strip lash. And now I don't even wear those anymore because I started using New Lash, which is like a lash serum, and
Really?
really started
How
to
often do you
grow.
how often do you put that on?
I put it on every night. I'm gonna
Hmm.
come across 60 my lashes.
I see it.
I put them on every night on my top lashes. And when I wake up in the morning, do my routine as normal. But then I do that mascara trick. And I also use different mascaras. I use three. I
Okay.
use one that has like a fine comb to it. It's a MAC.
Hmm.
Actually, I'll show it to you.
Let me
Oh,
see.
please.
I'm loving the pillows, Brown Girl Bella.
Yes. Available
And I
at
see
my
your
merch
and I see
store.
your makeup brush holder in the back with the eyelashes. And I,
Mhm. Yes, yes. Okay, so this is the one that I use first. This is by MAC. It's called the Extended Play Giga Black Lash. And you see how thin
oh,
it
okay. Okay.
is?
Yeah,
So,
that's a thin brush. Okay, so I do
mhm.
have one of those. Hmm.
I use that to comb my lashes through. And then when I want the ba boom, I go with my girl, Mother Pat.
Wait, let me see that because I want to add some volume.
So Pat McGrath came out with 2 mascaras. This is the first one. This is called Fetish Eyes. It's going to give you length, but not really all that ba boom.
Yeah, does it clunk up? Because I noticed some mascaras
It
clunk up and it's
actually
annoying.
it can if you're not careful, but
Okay,
clunky lashes are supposed to be in. I don't really like them
not for
clumped
me.
together like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then this one is her new one. This
Okay.
baby right here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You want to talk about giving off
You just put just a little on and I see
volume.
the difference. Yep, I see the
It
difference.
really gives you that baby doll. Hi, come hither, look.
But Shannon, let me ask you this, because this is a problem I find that when I take off my makeup, whether it's using the Neutrogena wipes or the MAC wipes, that still the mascara remains. It's like, oh, the next day it's still on. What do
Yes.
you recommend for that? Some
What
people say
what
baby
I
oil,
do is
Vaseline.
I take a cotton swab and I put a little bit of the micellar water on it and I soak
Mm.
it.
A swab
And
or
I
a
just let
Q-tip?
it I'm sorry, Q-tips. Yeah, cotton swab.
Okay.
And I just let it sit right on my lashes.
Okay.
And I just wiggle them a little bit
Hmm.
and it starts to come off. Because I
Okay.
use about 3-4 coats of mascara. So I'm doing that at the end of the night, like really wiping them. And especially since I'm using this serum, I want to
Hmm.
make sure that my lashes are clean so that it adheres to it.
Now, is that serum, is it heavy for your eyelashes? Like, are you
It's
okay
not at
sleeping with
all.
it?
It's not at all. It's very light, but I will tell you some people have gotten like a dark line across their eyelash because it can darken your lids a little bit. I don't mind it if it does darken it because I'm like, that looks like
You have
eyeliner.
mascara on. Okay.
So that
Okay.
works for me.
Hmm.
That will work in my case. But I use just a little bit of it. It's just a regular lash. And I really think I'm going to try to do it myself because I really think this has like castor oil and some other kind of oils in it that you could probably find in the natural foods section.
Shannon, do you use primer for your before you put on the mascara? Because some people use primer and they said that the mascara comes off easier if you use primer.
I do use primer. I don't have any currently, but the drugstore one that I use is the L'Oreal, which to
Okay.
me reminds me of the Lancome one that I swear by.
Mhm.
It works. It definitely does work. And it also helps coat your lashes and lets them grow as well.
Okay.
Both the L'Oreal, which is drugstore, and the Lancome.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
And
especially right now, Shannon, because look, we're wearing masks. So really what needs to be popping are your eyebrows and your
yes,
eyes. That's it.
yes.
Nothing else.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And in my spare time when I'm not filming, that's all I use is like do my little eyebrows, and I have struggle brows, so I can't do but too much. I
Mhm.
really want to get them microbladed, but I'm really, really scared about it.
So you know what? Someone told me about that, but I was like, I've known women who did microblading is nothing new. It was out in the 80s and the 90s because I'm like, I remember my mom got hers done, and I'm like, it's why does it look blue and gray now? That is why I wouldn't do it because I'm like, oh, it looks cute for a few years, but if you don't touch it up, it turns green, like green, bluish black. So I'm like, no, I
Oh,
won't be doing that. Because you got to keep
oh
touching
my
it up because
goodness.
technically it's a tattoo. You're tattooing your eyebrows, so you got to keep it up.
Exactly.
So
All right, I'm sold. I
okay.
was I was on the fence. I was on the fence, but you sold me the other way. I'm not doing it. Black Brand Friday said exactly. All right, so I have my friend Angel who wanted to come up and say hello to you and
All
ask
right,
you
Angel,
a
come on.
question. Hmm?
I said, bring Angel on. Let's go.
Okay, I will bring him up. Angel, if you're still in the chat, I'm going to bring the link down for you. And while we're waiting for you to come up, I'm going to talk about my new computer that I just got, the new Mac.
Which Mac did you get? The iPad Air? I mean, the iPad.
The MacBook Air.
The MacBook Air. Okay.
And it looks pink.
Okay. So I
pink.
got the not MacBook, the iPad Air, because I was like, I need the top of the line iPad. So when I do my shows, because even though I have an iPad that I got in 2016, it's outdated already. So I was like, I need something with the fuzziness, and the most embarrassing thing to me is to be on national TV doing a show and all of a sudden your screen freezes. And especially imagine if you're looking all crazy too, like, yeah, exactly. Be like, oh, but I ended up returning it because even though it's a MacBook iPad Air, it was still too heavy for me, and just I felt like it was clunky. I need something like I have my iPad Mini. I just got the latest version that I can just store it in my purse. That's it. Store it in my purse and just walk out. That's it. But that iPad Air was just a bit too much for me.
Oh no. Well, I like the size of this. It's very nice. I think it's 13 inches.
13 inches.
Yeah. So I mean, so far so I literally just got it today, and it was so easy to plug in. Everything just automatically loaded up from my old MacBook to this one. It was like a most seamless experience I've ever had.
Shannon, I still have the original iPad Air that came out in 2009. But of course, it's not compatible to anything. The only reason I keep it is because it has all my, remember the iPod Classic? Yeah, I need all my music from there. And that's where it's at. It's on the original iPad Air. So I was like, I'm not getting rid of it while it still can play music.
No, right? You need your music.
Exactly. All those CDs that we had to download one by one.
Welcome in Samantha's life. Okay, we have Angel on. Angel, welcome to the stream.
And I still have the original 2015 first version of the Amazon Echo with Alexa with that big speaker. Remember how big it was? I still have the first version when the Echo was introduced the first time in 2015. But my question to you is, and nice to meet you. I've been enjoying your story. My question to you is, you've seen your fair share of like dumb cases as an attorney, right?
Yes. Yes.
If someone accused you. If someone accused you of something that you know you're innocent of and took you to court, what would the result be? Would you win or would they win?
So let me tell you, Angel, and this is something that when we're talking about Black Lives Matter and that Brianna Lives Matter and just anyone African American matters, is that, Angel, I get pulled over, and I used to get pulled over all the time, especially when I was driving an Escalade. And because of what tags you get as a result of driving an Escalade, oh, that's a drug dealer's car or whatever. And when you go into certain neighborhoods, be like, well, how is that car? Are you able to afford that car in the neighborhood? So I tell you this, when I get stopped, no one's seeing that, oh, I'm an attorney. Oh, I'm a prosecutor. I used to be a prosecutor. Oh, I do criminal defense now. Oh, I speak on TV. No one's seeing that. All I am is just a regular individual. And let me tell you, especially when I'm out in my spandex, my hoodie, and my sneakers, and sometimes my hat, my hair in a ponytail, I'm just like everybody else. So that's the one thing why I pursue criminal justice, is because it makes me no different. And the same thing, how you said that if someday that I can be accused of committing a crime that I didn't commit, so that's, no one is exempt from that. That's why it takes people, prosecutors, how I used to be a prosecutor, that's really going to look into the case and care about humans to be able to determine that the right person you have is the person that committed the crime. I can tell you this, that I love trying cases, and I take pride in being an excellent trial attorney, because I tell people you can't build hustle and you can't teach. My expertise or my upbringing and all of that helps me out in the courtroom. And I say this, if I can't win the case, no one can, because there's no one better than me as a trial attorney. And I'm willing to bet anything on that.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That actually brings me to another question that I wanted to ask Bernarda, because you know the climate that we're living in. What should we as African Americans or people of color, what should we do if we are stopped by the police? What is the correct procedure? What is the correct way to address a police officer when you're stopped?
Okay. So, you know what? I can say that, oh, everyone is supposed to do the same thing or follow the same procedures, but
Right.
that is not the reality. What
Right.
other races, what other of our Caucasian friends and colleagues can do is not going to pass mustard with us, because of the implicit bias that a lot of the police officers have, or just, innate racism that people have. And, they won't say it, but there are people that are in law enforcement, and not to say that everybody that's in law enforcement that they're racist or have implicit bias, but we are living in a system that has systemic racism. And when these police officers, when the wrong police officer and the bad police officer pulls you over, and I'll tell you this, that it's always been, even from when I was a kid, that anytime there was a police officer that was going to approach me while I was driving or pull me over, all of a sudden, like, I begin to shake.
Yes.
I get nervous. I get nervous. Till this day, I get nervous if a police officer pulls behind me, whether I did something or not. I get nervous because you never know how it's going to play out. So what I would say, and I'm not giving out legal advice at all, I recognize that I am a Black female. I am a Black female from this city. So I know that if I were to get pulled over, guess what I am not doing? I am not making any type of movement. I am not reaching for in my pockets. I am not reaching for the glove compartment. I am not reaching for the center console. What I would do, and hopefully if I can do, is open my phone, probably call someone, or even call 911, because every 911 call is recorded. Leave the phone open. Yes, officer, and I will state, I'm not moving my hands. My hands are right here. I'm not doing anything. My hands are here on the dashboard or on the steering column. And say everything, explain, because remember, these officers, when they're approaching you with a gun in their hand, because they also don't know what to expect. They do not know you. So they're trained to approach violent situations. So, officer, I'm not doing anything. Why did you stop me? That's it. I'm not saying anything else, because if there is something that they decide to take you into custody for, anything you say can be used against you. So anything you say to that officer can be used against you. So you have to be mindful of that. Also, I know that probably I am very upset that you pulled me off, but I cannot be irate. Because if I'm irate and I lose control of my feelings, I can also end up on the ground, handcuffed, or up against my car, handcuffed, or somebody swinging on me, or somebody putting a gun in my face because this woman is acting irate. Look at Sandra Bland, what happened to her? She gets stopped, or supposedly whatever it was, traffic infraction, and then she's put into jail, and all of a sudden, couple hours, she's found dead because she allegedly committed suicide. Anyway, I digress. Again, police officer pulls me over. I am not moving. I am not doing anything. I'm explicitly saying what actions I'm taking. My hands are on the steering column. They are on the dashboard. They are on the window. I am not moving at all.
All right. And the most important thing, keep your phone on, make sure your phone is charged. And if you can, call 911 or,
keep the phone open. Keep the phone
Yeah.
open, because all 911 calls are recorded. And just remember, your number one goal is to make it out of there alive. Because again, you can always file a complaint, afterwards.
Right.
But you got to be alive in order to do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like we've had so many, look at Philandro Castillo, like all these cases from all around the country that started with a car stop, you know, and he told them, I have a gun. And look how he ended up.
Exactly. This was great. This is an excellent talk. I think we covered everything that I wanted to cover with you. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Guys, I'll give you a few more minutes in case you want to type something in the chat and ask a question. While we're doing that, want to also talk about Alpha Kappa Alpha for a moment.
Oh, yeah. Make sure my hair's right.
Hair flip moment. Okay. So
Look at Angel
someone
combing his hair. Look at Angel.
You gotta get this laugh somewhere. I told him he needs to get like a teddy bear and put his laugh inside the teddy bear so that he can have his like tickle me Elmo moment. Because I swear this
make sure that you sell it though, because since you have a unique laugh, you don't want to give away your uniqueness for free.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. So speaking of Alpha Kappa, what are you going to be wearing inaugural day?
Shannon, let me tell you
today.
You know, because it's crazy because pretty much for the whole month of November and even October, anytime I would go out, I would be wearing something that said Biden Harris, or wearing something that's pink and green, or something that says vote, or I always have pearls on every day, whether it's pearl earrings, a pearl necklace, a pearl bracelet, or my pearl handband for my watch. I always have pearls on. So, I'm definitely going to be wearing pink and green. I was thinking about going to DC, but my thing is, one, COVID, because I did go to DC when Barack Obama was sworn in, and it was an amazing moment. I thank God for allowing me to go down to witness that. And it was freezing, Shannon. I mean, it was bad. And Shannon, I wanted to be cute. And I had some jeans and I had some long brown boots, not Timberlands or something to keep your boots warm, but one of those cute boots, I had that on. I think I had like just a dress shirt. I had my scarf, but I just had like a regular long white coat because I wanted to make sure I looked cute. And it's funny because when Barack Obama won the first time around, it was me and Marilyn Mosby, so the state's attorney for Baltimore City. It was me and her, both of us, and we were out on the lawn witnessing Barack Obama get sworn in.
Wow.
So, it was an amazing experience. And also what's amazing about it, that now that I see that Marilyn Mosby, while we were there waiting to see the first African-American man be sworn in as president, that Marilyn Mosby became the youngest elected state's attorney in the country. So I am excited about that.
Yes.
But so it's going to depend. I don't know if I'll go to DC, because also if it's not going to be that they're doing the swearing in outside, if it's something that's going to be inside, then I want to probably just go to an event and see it sworn in, get together with a whole bunch of us girls and watch the swearing in if I don't make it to DC. But it's still up in the air. But what's not up in the air is that I definitely will be wearing my salmon pink and apple green and my stand-up white pearls.
And pearls, absolutely. I am still like on cloud nine. It's so funny because when President Barack Obama was running, I bought his shirt that was in green, and then he won.
Yes.
And this time with Biden, I got the Biden-Harris t-shirt also in pink and green, and then they won. I'm starting to think maybe I'm
you're the winning factor.
It might have been me,
It's all you, Shannon. It's all you, Shannon. We keep
Yeah.
you with us to
It
all
might be that
elections.
brown girl Bella magic that's making it happen. Well, I don't see any questions in the chat. So I am going to just say on behalf of Brown Girl Bella and all my Bellas, thank you so much for this wonderful, wonderful talk. I think we are most enlightened now about the law and what it takes to be a prosecutor because, baby, whew, that
Shannon,
was,
I'll just say, I want to tell everybody, first of all, thank you for having me, Shannon. Thank you
oh,
for having me, Brown Girl Bella. The world needs to see all of this because you just never know who you're inspiring on a daily, day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So I
absolutely.
just tell people, I want people to be the change that they want to see. Everyone is different, but everyone has their gift of what they can contribute to make this world a better place. I want
Yeah.
everyone to follow me, reach out to me, Instagram at Villalona Law, my last name, Villalona
Mhm.
Law, or go on my website, www.villalonalaw.com. Facebook, Bernarda Villalona, click follower because I'm already maxed out with friends. You can only have 5,000.
Yeah, you know, yeah,
But
but-
you know, but for me, what I like to do on these social platforms is that I want to get information out to the public. What's going on in these
absolutely.
different states? What's going on in politics? What's going on in our country? Because
Yeah.
as you know, whatever the media is portraying, there's a lot more to it. And I want to get our platform out there so people can
Yeah.
see what they should be watching out for and know what's going on. So follow me, Villalona Law. Reach out to me
Yes,
if you
and it's
want
also in the
any. Yeah.
description box, everybody, as
Uh-huh.
well. So definitely click on that and follow this boss babe. Follow her.
And
All
if
right.
you need an attorney, Joey Jackson Law, that's where I'm working at now, senior trial counsel.
All
If I
right.
can't
There
win,
you
the case
go. There
can't
you
be
go.
won.
All
Exactly.
right.
And with that, you have now been bellified. Thank you, everybody. Oh, chicken nugget. Thank you. I think he was
Yes.
trying to come up. Thank you so much, everybody. And see you next time.
All right. Nice
Bye.
being on with you, Angel. Take care.
You too.